Go down, 1 second down, one down. Okay, enter again. Enter. Exposure compensation. Enter. Did you hit enter? Yeah. Oh, side cover. Right. Like menu? No. Can I see that?
Sun in the back, is that okay? The sun's in the back.
Let's see on a sun is coming. Sahi hai.
Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We're starting Juz 14, Surah Al-Hijr. First ayah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام را. تلك آيات الكتاب وقرآن مبين. ربما يود الذين كفروا لو كانوا مسلمين. ذرهم يأكلوا ويتمتعوا ويلههم الأمل فسوف يعلمون. وما أهلكنا من قرية إلا ولها كتاب معلوم ما تسبق من أمة أجلها وما يستأخرون. وقالوا يا أيها الذي نزل عليه الذكر إنك لمجنون لو ما تأتنا بالملائكة إن كنت من الصادقين. ما ننزل الملائكة إلا بالحق وما كانوا إذا منذرين. إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإن له لحافظون. ولقد أرسلنا من قبلك في شيع الأولين وما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون كذلك نسلكه في قلوب المجرمين لا يؤمنون به وكذا خلت سنة الأولين ولو فتحنا عليهم بابا من السماء فظلوا فيه يعرجون لقالوا إنما سكرت أبصارنا بل نحن قوم مسحورون ولقد جعلنا في السماء بروجا وزيناها للناظرين وحفظناها من كل شيطان رجيم إلا من استرق السمع وأتبعه شهاب مبين والأرض مددناها وألقينا فيها رواسي وأنبتنا فيها من كل شيء موزون وجعلنا لكم فيها مآتشا ومن لستم له برازقين وإن من شيء إلا عندنا خزائنه وما ننزله إلا بقدر معلوم وأرسلنا الرياح لواقيا وأنزلنا من السماء ماء فأسقيناكموه وما أنتم له بخازنين وإنا لنحن نحيي ونميت ونحن الوارثون ولقد علمنا المستقدمين منكم ولقد علمنا المستأخرين وإن ربك هو يحشرهم إنه حكيم عليم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان من صلصال من حمأ مسنون والجان خلقناه من قبل من نار السموم وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني خالق بشرا من صلصال من حمأ مسنون وإذا سويته ونفخت فيه من روحي فقعوا له ساجدين فسجد الملائكة كلهم أجمعون إلا إبليس أبى أن يكون مع الساجدين قال يا إبليس ما لك ألا تكون مع الساجدين قال لم أقل لأسجد لبشر خلقته من صلصال من حمأ مسنون قال فاخرج منها فإنك رجيم وإن عليك اللعنة إلى يوم الدين قال ربي فانظرني إلى يوم يبعثون قال فإنك من المنذرين إلى يوم الوقت المعلوم قال ربي بما أغويتني لأزينن لهم في الأرض ولا أغوينهم أجمعين إلا عبادك منهم المخلصين قال هذا صراط لدي مستقيم إن عبادي ليس لك عليهم سلطان إلا من اتبعك من الغاوين وإن جهنم لموئدهم أجمعين لها 7 أبواب لكل باب منهم جزء مقسوم إن المتقين في جنات وعيون ادخلوها بسلام آمنين ونزعنا ما في صدورهم من غل إخوانا سحابا وما هم منها بمخرجين نبه عبادي أني أنا الغفور الرحيم وأن عذابي هو العذاب الأليم ونبههم عن ضيف إبراهيم إذا دخلوا عليه فقالوا سلاما قال إن منكم وجيلون قالوا لا توجل إنا نبشرك بغلام عليم قال بشرناتموني على أن مسني الكبر فبما تبشرون قالوا بشرناك بالحق فلا تكن من القانتين قال ومن يقنط من رحمة ربه إلا الضالون قال فما خطبكم أيها المرسلون قالوا إنا أرسلنا إلى قوم مجرمين إلا آل لوط إنا لنمجوهم أجمعين إلا امرأته قدرنا إنها لمن الغابرين فلما جاء آل لوط المرسلون قال إنكم قوم منكرون قالوا بل جئناك بما كانوا فيه يمترون وأتيناك بالحق وإنا لصادقون فاسري بأهلك بقطع من الليل واتبع أدبارهم ولا يلتفت منكم أحد وامضوا حيث تؤمرون وقضينا إليه ذلك الأمر أن دابر هؤلاء مقطوع مصبحين وجاء أهل المدينة يستبشرون قال إن هؤلاء ضيفي فلا تفزعون واتقوا الله ولا تخزون قالوا أولم ننهك عن العالمين قال هؤلاء بناتي إن كنتم فاعلين لعمرك إنهم لفي سكرتهم يأمهون فأخذتهم الصيحة مشركين فجعلنا عاليها سافلها وامطرنا عليهم حجارة من سجيل إن في ذلك لآيات للمتوسمين وإنها لبسبيل مقيم إن في ذلك لآيات للمؤمنين وإن كان أصحاب الأيكة الأيكة إلى الظالمين فانتقمنا منهم وإنهما لبإمام مبين. ولقد كذب أصحاب الحجر المرسلين وآتيناهم آياتنا فكانوا عنها معرضين. وكانوا ينحتون من الجبال بيوتا آمنين فأخذتهم الصيحة مصبحين فما أغنى عنهم ما كانوا يكسبون. وما خلقنا السماوات والأرض وما بينهما إلا بالحق وإن الساعة لآتية فاصفح الصفح الجميل. إن ربك هو الخلاق العليم. ولقد أتيناك سبعا من المثاني والقرآن العظيم. لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم ولا تحزن عليهم واخفض جناحك للمؤمنين. وقل إني أنا النذير المبين. كما أنزلنا على مقتسمين الذين جعلوا القرآن عظيم. فوربك لنسألنهم أجمعين عما كانوا يعملون. فاصدع بما تؤمر وأعرض عن المشركين. إنا كفيناك المستهزئين الذين يجعلون مع الله إلها آخر فسوف يعلمون. ولقد نعلم أنك يضيق صدرك بما يقولون فسبح بحمد ربك وكن من الساجدين. واعبد ربك حتى يأتيك اليقين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أتى أمر الله فلا تستعجلوه سبحانه وتعالى عما يشركون. ينزل الملائكة بالروح من أمره على من يشاء من عباده أن أنذروا أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاتقون. خلق السماوات والأرض بالحق تعالى عما يشركون. خلق الإنسان من نطفة فإذا هو خاصم مبين. والأنعام خلقها لكم فيها دفء ومنافع ومنها تأكلون. ولكم فيها جمال حين تريحون وحين تسرحون. وتحملوا أثقالكم إلى بلد لم تكونوا بالغيه إلا بشق الأنفس إن ربكم لرؤوف رحيم. والخيل والبغال والحمير لتركبوها والزينة ويخلق ما لا يعلمون. وعلى الله قصد السبيل ومنها جائر ولو شاء لأهداكم أجمعين. هو الذي أنزل من السماء ماء لكم منه شراب ومنه شجر فيه ترسمون ينبت لكم به الزرع والزيتون والنخيل والأعناب ومن كل الثمرات إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. وسخر لكم الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرة بأمره إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يأكلون. وما ذرأ لكم في الأرض مختلفا ألوانه إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يذكرون. وهو الذي سخر البحر لتأكلوا منه لحما طريا وتستخرجوا منه هلية تلبسونها وترى الفلك مواخر فيه ولتبتغوا من فضله ولعلكم تشكرون. والقى في الأرض رواسي أن تمد بكم وأنهارا وسبلا لعلكم تهتدون. وعلامات وبالنجم هم يهتدون. أفمن يخلق كمن لا يخلق أفلا تذكرون. وإن تعدوا نعمة الله لا تحصوها إن الله لغفور رحيم. والله لا يعلم ما تسرون وما تعلنون. والذين يدعون من دون الله لا يخلقون شيئا وهم يخلقون. أموات غير أحياء وما يشعرون أيان يبعثون. إلهكم إله واحد فالذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة قلوبهم منكرة وهم مستكبرون. لا جرم أن الله يعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون إنه لا يحب المستكبرين. وإذا قيل لهم ماذا أنزل ربكم قالوا أساطير الأولين ليحملوا أوزارهم كاملة يوم القيامة ومن أوزار الذين يذلونهم بغير علم ألا ساء ما يزرون. قد مكر الذين من قبلهم فأتى الله بنيانهم من القواعد فخر عليهم السقف من فوقهم وأتاهم العذاب من حيث لا يشعرون. ثم يوم القيامة يقسيهم ويقولوا أين شركائي الذين كنتم تشاقون فيهم قال الذين أوتوا العلم إن الخزي اليوم والسوء على الكافرين الذين تتوفاهم الملائكة ظالمي أنفسهم فألقوا السلام ما كنا نعمل من سوء بلى إن الله عليم بما كنتم تعملون فادخلوا أبواب جهنم خالدين فيها فلبئس مثوى المتكبرين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. الصلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقيل للذي تتقوا ماذا أنزل ربكم قالوا خيرا للذين أحسنوا في هذه الدنيا حسنة ولدار الآخرة خير ولنعم دار المتقين جنات عدن يدخلونها تجري من تحتها الأنهار لهم فيها ما يشاءون كذلك يجزي الله المتقين الذين تتوفاهم الملائكة طيبين يقولون سلام عليكم ادخلوا الجنة بما كنتم تعملون هل ينظرون إلا أن تأتيهم الملائكة أو يأتي أمر ربك كذلك فعل الذين من قبلهم وما ظلمهم الله ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون فأصابهم سيئات ما عملوا وحاق بهم ما كانوا به يستهزئون وقال الذين أشركوا لو شاء الله ما عبدنا من دونه من شيء نحن ولا آباؤنا ولا حرمنا من دونه من شيء كذلك فعل الذين من قبلهم فهل على الرسل إلا البلاغ المبين ولقد بعثنا في كل أمة رسولا أن اعبدوا الله واجتنبوا الطاغوت فمنهم من هدى الله ومنهم من حقت عليه الضلالة فسيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف كان عاقبة المكذبين إن تحرص على هداهم فإن الله لا يهدي من يضل وما لهم من ناصرين وأقسموا بالله جهد أيمانهم ولا يبعث الله من يموت بلى وعدا عليه حقا ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون ليبين لهم الذين اختلفون فيه وليعلم الذين كفروا أنهم كانوا كاذبين إنما قولنا لشيء إذا أردناه أن نقول له كن فيكون والذين هاجروا في الله من بعد ما ظلموا لنبوئنهم في الدنيا حسنة ولأجر الآخرة أكبر لو كانوا يعلمون الذين صبروا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون وما أرسلنا من قبلك إلا رجالا نوحي إليهم فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون بالبينات والزبر وأنزلنا إليك الذكر لتبين للناس ما نزل إليهم ولعلهم يتفكرون أفمن الذين مكروا السيئات أن نخسف الله بهم الأرض أو يأتيهم العذاب من حيث لا يشعرون أو يأخذهم في أو يأخذهم في تقلبهم فما هم بمعجزين أو يأخذهم على تخوف فإن ربكم لرؤوف رحيم. أولم يروا إلى ما خلق الله من شيء يتفيأ ظلاله عن اليمين والشمائل سجدا لله وهم داخرون. ولله يسجد ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من دابة والملائكة وهم يستكبرون. وقال الله لا تتخذوا إلهين اثنين إنما هو إله واحد فإياه فارهبون. وله ما في السماوات وما الأرض وله الدين واصبا فغير الله تتقون. وما بكم من نعمة فمن الله ثم إذا مسكم الضر فإليه تجأرون. ثم إذا كشف الضر عنكم إذا فريق منكم بربهم يشركون. ليكفروا بما آتيناهم فتمتعوا فسوف تعلمون. ويجعلون لما لا يعلمون نصيبا مما رزقناهم تالله لتسألن عما كنتم تفترون. ويجعلون لله البنات سبحانه ولهم ما يشتهون. وإذا بشر أحدهم بالأنثى ظل وجهه مسودا وهو كظيم يتوارى من القوم من سوء ما بشر به أيمسكه على هون أو يدسه في التراب على ساء ما يحكمون. للذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة مثل السوء ولله المثل الأعلى وهو العزيز الحكيم. ولو يؤاخذ الله الناس بظلمه ما ترك عليها من دابة ولكن يؤخرهم إلى أجل مسمى وإذا جاء أجلهم لا يستأخرون ساعة ولا يستقدمون. ويجعلون لله ما يكرهون وتصف ألسنتهم الكذب أن لهم الحسنى لا جرم أن لهم النار وأنهم مفرطون. تالله لقد أرسلنا إلى أمم من قبلك فزين لهم الشيطان أعمالهم فهو وليهم اليوم ولهم عذاب أليم. وما أنزلنا عليك الكتاب إلا لتبين لهم الذين اختلفوا فيه وهدى ورحمة لقوم يؤمنون. والله أنزل من السماء ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يسمعون. وإن لكم في الأنعام لعبرة نسقيكم مما في بطونه من بين فرث ودم لبنا خالصا صائغا للشاربين. ومن ثمرات النخيل والأعناب تتخذون منه سكرا ورزقا حسنا إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يعقلون. وأوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذي من الجبال بيوتا ومن الشجر ومما يعرشون ثم كلي من كل الثمرات فاسلكي سبل ربك ذللا يخرج من بطونها شراب مختلف ألوانه فيه شفاء للناس إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يتفكرون. والله خلقكم ثم يتوفاكم ومنكم من يرد إلى أرذل العمر لكي لا يعلم بعد علم شيئا إن الله عليم قدير. والله فضل بعضكم على بعض في الرزق فما الذين فضلوا براد رزقهم على ما ملكت أيمانهم فهم فيه سواء أفبنعمة الله يجحدون. والله جعل لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا وجعل لكم من أزواجكم بنينا وحفظة ورزقكم من الطيبات أفبالباطل يؤمنون وبنعمة الله هم يكفرون. ويعبدون من دون الله ما لا يملك لهم رزقا من السماوات والأرض شيئا ولا يستطيعون. فلا تضربوا لله الأمثال إن الله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. ضرب الله مثلا عبدا مملوكا لا يقدر على شيء ومن رزقناه منا رزقا حسنا فهو ينفق منه سرا وجهرا هل يستوون الحمد لله بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون. وضرب الله مثلا رجلين أحدهما أبكم لا يقدر على شيء وهو كل على مولاه أينما يوجهه لأن يأتي بخير هل يستوي هو ومن يأمر بالعدل وهو على صراط مستقيم. ولله غيب السماوات والأرض وما أمر الساعة إلا كلمح البصر أو هو أقرب إن الله على كل شيء قدير. والله أخرجكم من بطون أمهاتكم لا تعلمون شيئا وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة لعلكم تشكرون. ألم يروا إلى الطير مسخرات في جو السماء ما يمسكهن إلا الله إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يؤمنون. والله جعل لكم من بيوتكم سكنا وجعل لكم من جلود الأنعام بيوتا تستخفونها يوم ظعنكم ويوم إقامتكم ومن أصوافها وأوبارها وأشعارها أثاثا ومتاعا إلى حين. والله جعل لكم مما خلق ظلالا وجعل لكم من الجبال أكنانا وجعل لكم سرابيل تقيكم الحر وسرابيل تقيكم بأسكم كذلك يتم نعمته عليكم لعلكم تسلمون. فإن تولوا فإنما عليك البلاغ المبين. يعرفون نعمة الله ثم ينكرونها وأكثرهم الكافرون. ويوم نبعث من كل أمة شهيدا ثم لا يؤذن للذين كفروا ولا هم يستعتبون. وإذا رأى الذين ظلموا العذاب فلا يخفف عنهم ولا هم ينظرون. وإذا رأى الذين أشركوا شركاءهم قالوا ربنا هؤلاء شركاؤنا الذين كنا ندعو من دونك فألقوا إليهم القول إنكم لكاذبون وألقوا إلى الله يومئذ السلم وضل عنهم ما كانوا يفترون الذين كفروا وصدوا عن سبيل الله زدناهم عذابا فوق العذاب بما كانوا يفسدون ويوم نبعث في كل أمة شهيدا عليهم من أنفسهم وجئنا بك شهيدا على هؤلاء ونزلنا عليك الكتاب تبيانا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة وبشرى للمسلمين إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأوفوا بعهد الله إذا عاهدتم ولا تنقضوا الأيمان بعد توكيدها وقد جعلتم الله عليكم كفيلا إن الله يعلم ما تفعلون ولا تكونوا كالتي نقضت غزلها من بعد قوة أنكاثا تتخذون أيمانكم دخلا بينكم أن تكون أمة هي أربى من أمة إنما يبلوكم الله به وليبينن لكم يوم القيامة ما كنتم فيه تختلفون ولو شاء الله لجعل لكم أمة واحدة ولكن يضل من يشاء ويهدي من يشاء ولتسألن عما كنتم تعملون ولا تتخذوا أيمانكم دخلا بينكم فتزل قدم بعد ثبوتها وتذوقوا السوء بما صددتم عن سبيل الله ولكم عذاب عظيم ولا تشتروا بعهد الله ثمنا قليلا إنما عند الله هو خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون ما عندكم ينفذ وما عند الله باق ولنجزين الذين صبروا أجرهم بأحسن ما كانوا يعملون من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينهم حياة طيبة ولنجزينهم أجرهم بأحسن ما كانوا يعملون فإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إنه ليس له سلطان على الذين آمنوا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون إنما سلطانه على الذين يتولونه والذين هم به مشركون وإذا بدلنا آية مكانا آية والله أعلم بما ننزل قالوا إنما أنت مفتر بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون قل نزله روح القدس من ربك بالحق ليثبت الذين آمنوا وهدى وبشرى للمسلمين ولقد نعلم أنهم يقولون إنما يعلمه بشر لسان الذين يلحدون إليه أعجمي وهذا لسان عربي مبين إن الذين لا يؤمنون بآيات الله لا يهديهم الله ولهم عذاب أليم إنما يفتر الكذب الذين لا يؤمنون بآيات الله وأولئك هم الكاذبون من كفر بالله من بعد إيمانه إلا من أكره وقلبه مطمئن بالإيمان ولكن من شرح بالكفر صدرا فعليهم غضب من الله ولهم عذاب عظيم ذلك بأنهم استحبوا الحياة الدنيا على الآخرة وأن الله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين أولئك الذين طبع الله على قلوبهم وسمعهم وأبصارهم وأولئك هم الغافلون لا جرم أنهم في الآخرة هم الخاسرون ثم إن ربك للذين هاجروا من بعد ما فتنوا ثم جاهدوا وصبروا إن ربك من بعدها لغفور رحيم صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Jazakallah Maulana and Sohail Bhai for beautiful recitation. Brothers and sisters, we have on the finger, you can count now, max 16, less 14, 16 or 15 days left. We do the Quran Halqa every day. If you like to recite the Quran, please come a little bit earlier so you get the sawab of Halqa. I request you all, especially the youth kids, if they want to read it. Before I invite the Maulana, a few of the announcement. Tomorrow, inshallah, tomorrow night is night of 15th. So we're going to celebrate of birth of our second Imam, Imam Hassan Mujtaba alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajum. Program will be the same as usual. We start 7 o'clock with the Halqa Quran, followed by Mankabat Khani, then followed by Jashan speech by Maulana Mirza Mohammed Baig, inshallah. Also, for the sponsorship of the Ramadan, now we going on the second phase. I think so we have one more half days left, 1 or half day left. But you can contribute towards the Jumatul Wida, which is day of Quds, last Friday of the month. That iftar is for the community, marhumin, and all the marhum mu'minin and mu'minat. So please, if you like to contribute towards the marhumin iftar, do contact me or brother Dabir Hadar is here also every day. You can contact him. Any amount, any participation as will be appreciated, inshallah. With that, I don't want to become a naib of Ibn Sina like yesterday Maulana said. So I'm not going to go with the alqaf of the big and big and big. But in your loud salawat, once again I like to invite Maulana Mirza Mohammed Baig to the member. Par Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Sorry. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد صل على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين الله الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. The subject we chose to speak about in this month is the end of times, or Akhiruz Zaman. It is a prominent subject in the hadith and in the words of the Imams. Rasulullah spoke about it mostly towards the end of his prophethood, especially at Hajjatul Wada and after that. He spoke in detail regarding what will happen in the end times, and to warn us of the problems and difficulties that everyone will face at these times. And throughout the Imams, we see Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, spoke about it in detail to show us what's going to happen. And the reason he said, and it has been spoken about, is because it's going to be difficult to be a believer, a Muslim in these days. Now, I'm not going to go in details of general things that have been said about the end times. I want to go more into the details of us and believers and what we have to go through and how should we protect ourselves from something that will happen to us. Now, how do you know that this is the end times? What's the way to know this? Because this was a question that many people asked the Imams also. Well, how do we know it's the end times? How do you know this is Akhir Zaman? Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam was sitting with his Shias and friends, and they asked him this question. Interestingly, Imam replied back to them and said that when the water will rise in the earth and the sea levels are going to rise, that is the end times. And the water in the ocean will rise up. Then you will know that this is the end times are coming. Imam Rida alayhi salam was asked, how do we know that this is the time for the coming of the Imam, or the end times? And Imam Rida replied and said that when the temperatures of the world are going to rise, and heat will rise, and the winter in autumn will be like the weather in the summer, meaning there will be a warming, a trend of warming. That is the end times. That is when the Imam will come back. These are signs that have been given regarding the end times. When we see at another place, we have in the hadith, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has said, in regards to how do we know the time of Imam Mahdi is near? He said that when you will see the people in the east talk to the people in the west, looking at them, watching them, they will be talking to them, then you know this is the end times. This is the time of the Qa'im of Imam Mahdi. These are signs that have been given for us to recognize what is the end times, what will happen at the end. Global warming is a sign of the end times. This communications that we have today, where we can see someone and talk to them from the east to the west, they said, from the Mashriq to the Maghrib, they will be able to talk to each other. This will be the time. Imam Ali says, when iron will ride on iron and far distances will become very close to each other. This will be the end times. So all of these things have been mentioned for us to recognize what the end times are. But these signs that you see are just to know the end times are here. But the more important thing is to know, what are we going to go through? What's going to happen? What will be the state of Islam at that time? What will be the state of a believer at that time? His family. And the fitna that's going to happen, that's going to be so hard for a person to save his religion. That's what I want to discuss more, and where we want to focus on, as to what will happen at that time, or what will happen to us. So let's start with that. What is the state of a believer, of a Shia, of a mu'min in the end times, in Akhir al-Zaman? Let's hear that from Rasulullah himself. We see that in one hadith of the Prophet, that he has mentioned in Hajjatul Wida, in the last Hajj. And this has been narrated by Salman, where he said that Rasulullah held on to the ring of the door of the Kaaba and turned his face towards us, and we looked at him, and he said, shall I tell you about the conditions of the end times, of Akhir al-Zaman? And Salman said, yes, please, do tell us. Do tell us. No, everyone else was avoiding the subject, but Salman was there. And usually it happened that Rasulullah always in his gatherings of teaching had either Imam Ali or Salman or someone like that, so that they can actually be interested in learning. Otherwise, Rasulullah, if he asks that, generally people will just run away. But Salman was there to now ask him, please tell me, please tell us. Yes. So Rasulullah begins that, and he then says, and I'm just going to first read some of his words. The hadith is long, then I'm just going to subjectify it and go into the subjects regarding the hadith. Here he says that the signs, what will happen at the end of times, it will be known by this. Number one, idha'atus salat, that prayers are going to be missed without any concern. When people will start missing their prayers without any concern for them, it will be like nothing happened. I mean, it will be more difficult for them to forget brushing their teeth than to forget their prayers. If they forget to brush their teeth, it will bother their conscience all day. But missing their morning prayers, it will be so easy they won't even think of it as something important. This is a sign of a believer at that time. He will miss his prayers without any sort of problem for him. Number two, he says, وَإِتِّبَاءُ الشَّهَوَاتِ, it will be a time when everyone follows desires and shahwat. Everyone will follow desires. Whatever they like is what they are going to do. Number three, he says, وَالْمَيْلُ إِلَى الْأَهْوَاءِ, and everyone will be inclined towards personal opinions. Personal opinions will become more important than the truth. He says this, he says that. No one will care about what Allah says. Everyone will care about what people say. Number four, and this is where we come to, وَبَيْءُ الدِّينِ بِالدُّنْيَا. He says that Islam will be sold for dunya. If there is a Muslim, if someone is a Muslim, he will sell his Islam for dunya. For something from dunya, he will sell it to him. Just like that. He will let go of his deen for dunya. He says, فَإِنْدَهَا يَذُوبُ قَلْبِ الْمُؤْمِنِ. When these times will happen, when the end times will happen, the heart of a believer will dissolve in all of these attractions, in all of these munkarat, these haram things that are happening. The heart of a believer is going to dissolve like salt dissolves in water, because he will be unable to deal with it. He will be unable to talk against it. He will be too weak to speak out against the wrong that is happening. It will happen just like that. My friends, the end times is not that bad things are happening. No, these are happening in every age. Bad things are happening. The end times are known by the fact that when bad things happen, no one can say that they're bad. If you say they're bad, that's when everyone will be on your case. How can you say they're bad? You see, there was a time when something haram was haram, and if you said haram, it said this is bad. Everyone agreed with that. But no, the end times will be different. Akhir zaman will be a time when bad will be regarded as good. Haram will be regarded as halal, and halal will be regarded as haram. And this is what we want to get into now. So let's get into the life of a believer described by Masumin. How did they describe the believer, the Shia in the end times, in Akhir Zaman? And this is where it gets, as I said, it is fearful, it is frightening. And I gave a disclaimer that this is a subject that's heavy, and only because it's Ramadan and you're fasting and Allah has given you a spiritual ability, that's why I'm mentioning this. You know, so I'm just the messenger, so don't kill the messenger. Salawat. In this hadith, Rasulullah says that when earning a livelihood, Akhir Zaman is a time when earning a livelihood cannot be earned. Livelihood cannot be earned except through guna. The only way to earn a livelihood will be through guna, through ma'siyat. Some haram you have to do in order to earn a living. And so, in this situation, it is better for a person to be single than to get married and have expenses. Because if you're single, you don't need expenses, and hence you can live your life alone without having to involve yourself in haram. Rasulullah is saying it's better to be a bachelor at that time. It will be that bad. That anything you want to earn, any job you want to do, any place you want to go, there will be haram involved. I mean, we can just talk about this right now. Any business that you go to, any job that you have, there is haram involved in it right now. Haram is not just, for example, there's alcohol there, or there's gambling there, or this there. No, you work with a behijab woman. You're a doctor, but you work with a nurse who's behijab. What are you going to do? Haram is involved. Any place you go, haram is involved. Rasulullah is saying at that time, being single will be better. Where you don't have expenses, where you don't have to earn money. What will happen at that time? He goes on in the same hadith. He goes on. Just want to mention this hadith today. And I don't know how far we'll get. But he mentions this. He says, a mu'min will be first destroyed by his parents. His mother and father will kill him. The mother and father will kill a believer. And if the mother and father don't kill the believer, the wife and the children are going to kill the believer. And the wife and the children, if he gets away from them and saves himself from them, then his friends and relatives are going to kill him. People ask Rasulullah, how are they going to kill him? How are they going to kill him? So Rasulullah says that it will be the parents. And I will mention about the parents and the children tomorrow in detail as to what's going to happen to the children then. Today, I want to make this focused on the believers right now. A Shia, a mu'min person. What happens? How will his parents kill him? He says the parents will see that he is poor and will put the fear of poverty in him and will pressure him. Go and do something and make a life of yourself. Make something of yourself. They will pressure him. And because of that pressure that he has, he will then be forced to do things that Allah is against, just to maintain his status in the society. And if the parents are good and they say, no, my son, You do what Allah wants. You be a believer. We want you to do halal, never do haram. Then you know what? He's going to get a wife who's going to say, what's going on in our life? Is this how we're going to live? Look at all these people. They all have homes. They all have everything. Why are we like this? And a man, the kids who are growing up will say, why are we a poor family? We are poor. And it hurts when your children say that. Yes, it hurts when your children, but instead of telling them that, listen, it is better to live a halal life than to live a haram life, we get embarrassed. And we fall into that pressure. And Rasulullah says the wife and the children are going to kill that man. And the wife and the children, if they are good, and they said, my husband, I am glad that you only do halal. I am glad that you only bring halal, and that's all I want from you. If she says that, but then you see the friends and the relatives will start to ridicule him. Hey, he's a MOMIN person, very muttaqi, that's why he's poor. That's why he's poor. They'll make a joke of him. They will make ridicule of him. And it hurts. Don't you think it hurts that someone is poor because, not because he doesn't want to earn, because he knows that there is no halal means of earning. And so what happens, this person, what he does, he is forced then. Rasulullah is saying at first the parents destroy him, they kill him. And if they don't kill him, the wife and the children kill him. And if the wife and the children don't kill him, then his friends and neighbors will kill him. They will force him to do haram things. How does it happen? Look at our lives right now. And how easy it is that we just don't even know that we are doing haram, and we are doing haram. Why? Not because we want to, but because we are forced to. If we don't do it, we won't hear the ending of it. We don't listen to the ending of it. My friends, anyone, for example, who buys a house, how do you buy the house? Do you pay for it? Who pays the money to buy a house? How do you buy a house? You mortgage it. When you mortgage, it means you're taking a loan on interest, on riba. Interest is haram. Why aren't you living on rent? I can't afford a house, so I am forced to do haram. No one says it's halal to get a house on mortgage. It is very clear that riba is haram. It is haram to even get a loan like that, and to live in a house like that. But we are completely filled with haram. This is the end times. And it will be normal. That's why Rasulullah said that riba, وَإِنْدَهَا يَظْهَرُ الرِّبَا. Riba and interest will be so freely dealt with. He says, وَيَتَعَالَمُونَ بِالْعَيْنَ. They will deal with riba openly, as if it's nothing. Nothing, it's okay. No Ayatollah says it's halal. Ayatollah Sistani says it's haram to get a loan on interest. Everyone says that. So where did we come with the idea that we will do this haram? End times is when everyone is forced to do haram because they have to maintain a name in the society. If you say that I'm living on rent, why are you living on rent? Why couldn't you get a house? You have been in America for 20 years. Because we can't. I cannot do haram. I can't put myself in haram. I don't care. You see, this is why it's happening. And Rasulullah says in Akhir al-Zaman, Mu'mineen will be zaleel. Mu'mineen will become zaleel, will become despised. Not because they follow Islam, not because they're following Allah, not because of that. They will become despised because they refuse to follow Allah. No one will respect them. Neither other people respect them, and neither their families will respect them. They will live with their wives without any respect. They will live with their children without having respect. And really, I will explain about the children, and wives and children tomorrow. Today I'm just going to go and focus on the men and how much time I have, but whatever we have, we'll speak about this. This is how it happens, my friends. We are involved in haram, and Akhirat Zaman is like that, when haram will be so open that no one is talking about it. Why don't you say something about it, that this is haram? But no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to deal with it. Why? Because it's difficult. If you say something, then everyone is going to pounce on you. What are you talking about? Everyone does this. I don't care if anyone does this. Is it allowed or not? Is it what Allah says is not? I'm not going to do anything. I don't care what everyone says. Everyone can hate me. It doesn't matter. Now, it doesn't mean that a mu'min will not have ghairat, meaning that he doesn't have anger. No, a mu'min will have anger, but for all the wrong issues. A mu'min will get angry for all the wrong issues, and he will not get angry for any right issue. For example, if someone insults him, that's it. He will be so angry and he will show his anger to everyone. But if someone insults Islam, he will be like, it's not me. It's bad. Why aren't you showing your anger now? There's haram going on. Why don't you show your anger here? No, but if something happens to you, meaning a mu'min, he is up in arms and ready to fight. Yes, let's say if someone says something over here in the center that's not even insulting, maybe disrespectful, he'd be like, I will never come back to the center again. It's not my house. It's Imam's house. What's your problem? Who are you trying to hurt? What is this anger for? What is this false dignity for? But if Allah's laws are being trampled, no one is ready to say anything. They're okay with it. You go to a wedding where mixed gathering is happening between men and women. Music is being played. Ladies are walking around naked, showing off their zinat. And you go there and you're sitting there and you know it's haram. And no one has the guts to tell the host, I feel sorry for your marriage. I can't pray for you or your children. It is unfortunate that you are doing haram in this situation, which is supposed to be holy. Tell them that, so that they will get scared and not do it again. My friends, I don't know about you all. I lived here since the early 70s. I was a kid. I don't know how many of you were here in those days. Since 1970, I've been here as a child, 2-year-old. I grew up in a community. Just to say that, there was a time in the community, in our own mu'minin community, that the election for the center was on New Year's Eve. And everyone would go to the center on New Year's Eve and cast their vote for the EC. And after the election was done, they announced the winners and all that. All these mu'mineen will go for a New Year's Eve party with their children, where they will dance and get drunk on that night. Straight from the Husainiya or center, Islamic center, they will go and do haram things. Openly, they will dance with the woman. This was the situation then. I am a witness to that as a child. And you know what? How many arguments it took and how many fights happened in order to stop that from happening? Now, alhamdulillah, no one is able to drink openly in the community. No one is able to just do haram openly in the community. There's a reason for it. A lot of people stood up and spoke out. When you speak out against something, people do get afraid, especially if it's the truth. Because Allah is behind it. Say it. Don't let it become normal. Don't let it become normal. Otherwise, we are going to be those people that will end up in a bad situation. 5 more minutes. Just like that, my friends. Now let me tell you, I told you it's not going to be easy. I told you it's not going to be easy. This is a heavy subject. It's not going to be easy speaking about this. As I said, a lot of these things, salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I'll just end it here, right? Just one more thing I'll mention so that I don't go into a subject I can't finish in 5 minutes. Akhir Zaman is a time when things will happen so openly that if you speak out against haram, people will then grab your neck and say, what are you talking about? Everyone else does it. And a mu'min will be too weak to stand up against the wrong that is happening in front of him. He will see the wrong, but he can't say anything. Either his parents or his wife, his children, his community are going to stop him from doing that. And you know what happens when this happens? Rasulullah said, there's 3 azab that Allah will send on the mu'mineen, on the Shia of that time. 3 bala that Allah will send on the believers of the time. Listen carefully at the bala that you are going to get. What are the bala and the azab that Allah will send on mu'mineen who do not speak out against the truth and let the falsehood become open like that? What are the azab Allah will send? Rasulullah said, the first azab Allah will give the mu'mineen is that He will make them rich and wealthy. Becoming rich and wealthy is the azab of Allah. The first bala He will give you is that He will make you rich. He will make you have a bank account. He will make you have money so that you can go far away from Allah. And He wants that to happen. You didn't stand up for my deen. You knew this was right and you didn't do it. I will make you so rich that you are going to buy yourself into hell. La ilaha illallah. The first azab that He will give is this, that He will make you wealthy. So if a person, a mu'min, becomes wealthy, he should question himself, Allah, why are you giving this to me? That's the first thing he should question. Did I do something wrong that you're giving all this responsibility to me? What have I done? It's the first thing he needs to ask himself. Because to him, money means responsibility. Now I need to spend this in the right way. It's not just I earn it. That's not how a mu'min looks at things. Now I need to know what to do with it. La ilaha illallah. And this is why it's so important when we come to that. So the first azab is that he gets this. The second azab he will give to mu'mineen and Shia is that he will make them live under kafir rulers, under kafir governments. Living under kafir government is an azab of Allah for mu'mineen. Non-Muslim government. Kafir government. This is the bala of Allah for believers, for not standing up for Allah's laws and Allah's rules. This is a bala of Allah. And the third thing is that He will make them die kafir. When they die, they will die kafir. Even though you read namaz-e-janazah for them, but they will die as kafirs. My friends, as a believer, in Akhir Zaman, it's not easy. That's why Rasulullah said that it's like holding fire in your hand. How long can you hold it? People will leave deen like that. We have to be smart enough to know what are the things. We are learning this not to be scared. We're learning this so that now that we need to know what to do about that. What do we do about that? When you see wrong, don't just be silent on it. Side with the truth. Know the laws of Allah and respect it. And do not let Allah's laws be trampled in front of you. Just like that. May Allah bless you all. We will end here. And inshallah, I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq and the blessing so that we can walk on His deen in the way that He is satisfied with us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah Maulana. It's already time for Adhan. Brother Ismail is going to come. While he's coming, just to remind you all, brothers and sisters, today one of our brother get buried, Brother Ismail. His body went to Iraq. It's buried today. So if you get the time tonight, please do the Salat-e-Wahshat for him and recite Surah Fatiha for all the marhum mu'mineen and mu'minat. Especially remember Brother Ismail and also the sponsors, Marhumeen and your, please recite the Surah Fatiha with the loud salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. أفضل الذكر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر من أن يوصف. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. اللهم صل على. أشهد أن عليًا ولي الله. أشهد أن عليا أمير المؤمنين وفاطمة الزهراء وأبناءهما المعصومين بالحق حجج الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل. حي على الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات، وتابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة مع